What is up, everyone? Darkside Phil here, and welcome to Release Day Unboxing for April 16th, 2013. And today we've got one major retail release. It's a game that I've actually been pretty excited for ever since I saw it in action at E3 last year. This is a game that was made by the same guys that made the Mortal Kombat reboot. What was it, at this point, about 2 years ago, I want to say? Maybe it was a year and a half, 2 years ago? NetherRealm Studios. And it's pretty cool because even though it may not be, in the long run, considered a competitive fighter, and by no means am I saying that it won't be, but, you know, especially when you get these games where they get a license like this. It's a fighting game, but it's with DC heroes and such. Sometimes it's not taken seriously. And if you remember, the makers of Mortal Kombat actually had their hands on MK vs. DC quite a few years ago. And that game was never considered a competitive fighting game, okay? But I'm excited because it looks like it's a pretty solid game. It's got an interesting premise. The game itself is based on a what-if scenario. What if Superman basically got mind-fucked and ended up doing some things he didn't mean to do, got really pissed off, instead of being the goody-two-shoes guy that he's always been in DC Comics, you know, mainstream lore, he went off the hinges, basically made the whole world a police state, and what would happen in that case in the DC universe, okay? And the reason I know that is because John Rambo has actually been reading the Injustice comic books that have been coming out for the past several months, leading up into this release. And so that's the premise of the game. I'm not going to spoil anything else, that's just the basic premise. But, you know, that's the cool thing about it, is that it's kind of a what-if, interesting what-if scenario. It's not the mainstream DC Comics story. And so, it's a really interesting story to jump into. And if you played the previous Mortal Kombat reboot from NetherRealm, you know that the story mode of that game was exceptional. So I'm really hoping that the story mode of this game ends up being as good, if not better, than the story mode of Mortal Kombat. But in addition to that, you know, being able to play with your favorite DC Comics characters in a fighting game scenario is going to be pretty neat, I think. Now, what I want to say is, you know, as you can see, I didn't get the collector's edition. There's a couple reasons for this, okay? First of all, for whatever reason, at my local GameStop, all my reserves are not in the system, and I don't know what's going on there. For the past 2 times now that I've picked up games, I've walked in there and I said, listen, I want to pick up my game, and they say it's not in there. So last time was Defiance. They said there was no reserve for Defiance. Even today they said there was no reserve for Injustice, and I said, now wait a minute. Injustice I've known about since E3 of last year. I walked into here, you know, months ago with the reserve list. I know obviously that I reserved it. So in GameStop's defense, they did a really good job. They said, okay, we trust you. We know you as a customer, and you know, you reserve your game, so it probably is a mistake on our part. So they looked up the code, the pre-order code, which is for the Red Sun pack, which I guess gives you some alternate costumes for certain characters, as if they were in part of a alternate universe, communist party Russian kind of a deal. Alright, so I did get the pre-order code, even though technically there was no pre-order in the system, okay? The other thing is, and I've thought about this on the ride home, and I remembered, when I reserved this game months ago, now I reserved it probably back in January, okay? I remember they showed me the list of collector's editions, and all they showed me was that the collector's edition came with a joystick. And when I looked at the joystick is an American-style joystick. So what I mean is that it's not the Japanese style. You know what I mean? Here, I'll show you. It's not the typical joystick that you would buy. Any of the joysticks that you would have bought to play with Street Fighter, to play with anything, recently, is a Japanese style. And what that means, it's this kind. It's got a ball top, it's a small joystick, okay? That's the typical kind of joystick that literally, and I'm not like exaggerating, literally 100% of competitive fighting game players use this kind of joystick now. Because it was funny, back in the 90s, we didn't use this kind of joystick. We actually used an American style, and the American style is a much longer stick. It's elongated, it's a different feel, but because it's a bigger stick, it actually has slower response time than the Japanese style sticks. And so once tournaments started becoming more mainstream, when these video games were hitting consoles, and really Evolution became the main fighting game tournament, for America, a lot of people started adjusting from the American style to the Japanese. Now all anyone uses is Japanese. Well, guess what? The collector's edition of Injustice comes with an American style joystick, which I remember looking at it like, why on earth would I want that? It's a worse joystick than what everyone uses. So it's a it's a boneheaded move. I don't know what they were thinking. But then again, being that this is a game that maybe won't be played competitively, maybe the people who really like the game won't know that, and they probably bought the collector's edition. But anyway, I remember not reserving the collector's edition because it came with a joystick. So today I go in to pick up my game and I find out, oh, there was a different collector's edition. And that one came with the statue, and it came with a comic book, and it came with this and that, and I'm like, I didn't know that, and why didn't you tell me when I reserved the game back in January? The answer, quite honestly, is probably because it wasn't even in their system. This is the problem with me. When I reserve my games, I reserve them a lot of the times so far ahead of time that by the time that the game comes out, there's already been changes to it. Perfect example would be last year with Call of Duty Black Ops 2. I reserved the game way early, and they never told me when the collector's edition came out. I actually heard over the internet that when the collector's edition came out. I went to the store that week and they told me they were already all reserved up. We couldn't get a collector's edition. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword. It would be nice if you already have a game reserved and a collector's edition gets announced, if you got an email about it or something, you know what I mean? Or even if you maybe get the option online to upgrade your pre-order, but you don't. And it's a major gaffe right now. It's a major disconnection in the information when it comes to collector's editions. But anyway, to be completely honest, I looked at the comic book I think I've already read. I'm pretty sure the comic book was made into an anime special, not an anime, a cartoon-like movie that I already read. And I'm sure there are some other neat things there, but I couldn't get it. I didn't have it pre-ordered. In addition to that, I do know that there's a season pass for the game, which they offered me, and I said I'm going to hold off for now, because right now, I want to play the game, I want to enjoy it for what it is right now, with the base cast, and then, in a couple months, if there's a new character, and I have downtime, and I want to play with that new character, then so be it. But I don't want to buy a season pass and then find out, in 2 months they release a character, uh-oh, I'm in the middle of 3 other games, and I can't play with them now. Well, then I've completely wasted my season pass, so down the road, we'll see if I want to buy each character individually that comes out as a DLC. But, all that being said, I've not talked for 7 minutes and not even touched the damn games. Injustice got Among Us on the Xbox 360. Why on the Xbox 360? Well, because I play all my games on the Xbox 360 if I have the chance. And, quite honestly, there is no... When it comes to these games, there really has been no edge of one system over the other. And if you actually check the technical aspects of these games, you would find out that even though tournaments like Evolution play most of the fighting games on the PlayStation 3, that the PlayStation 3 version is actually usually inferior to the Xbox 360. Sometimes it has slowdowns, sometimes it has more input lag. And I hate to say that because I know a lot of people will be up in arms. Oh, but the tournament standard is PlayStation 3. Yeah, but you want to know why? It's because Evolution has a sponsorship from Sony. That's the only reason. They've teamed up with Sony. They have been for several years. And they're using an inferior version of the games in a lot of cases. But that has nothing to do with this. I buy on Xbox 360 because, number one, as you know, I've used Xbox 360 longer than PlayStation 3. I've got a massive amount of achievement points on there. I feel more comfortable with the matchmaking system on there, so I'm going with the Xbox 360 version. And I also picked up the strategy guide, because when it comes to a fighting game like this, and especially with what I'm going to do today, a marathon stream of the story mode, and then possibly other modes if I beat the story mode, I want to be able to, at least when I start playing with a new character, figure out their basic, the basic good strategies with them. And I might not be able to do that quickly on the fly, so I basically need a strategy guide to tell me the basic combos and stuff. Now this is pretty funny to me. I guess we'll look at the strategy guide first. First of all, it's $24.99 for absolutely no reason. Strategy guides have always been $20. In the past year or so, they've kind of snuck in an extra $5 charge there, which is really annoying, especially for people who don't have a lot of money. That's bullshit. And it's funny because $24.99, but if you buy the strategy guide with the game, you get 10% off. But it was weird because when I bought it, I'm looking at my receipt right now, and it says that the strategy guide was only $20.24. So it says it's 25, but if you buy it with the game, it's 20. Obviously, if you're buying the strategy guide, you're not just going to buy the guide without the game. So really, the game's the strategy guide's $20 when you buy it with the game. And it's funny because it says, oh, MLG top players. Okay, this is just so mind-boggling. MLG is not known for fighting games. Yes, MLG, when it came to Mortal Kombat, they actually adopted like a circuit for Mortal Kombat, and they said we would have Mortal Kombat tournaments and such, but MLG is not the authority for fighting games. They never have been, and they probably never will be. So for them to say MLG top players contributed to this guide is like saying, you know, Danica Patrick contributed to this guide on how to paint pictures. You know what I mean? Like someone who's unqualified or someone who might not be qualified contributed. This means nothing whatsoever, MLG. However, apparently, you know, if there are tournament level Mortal Kombat players who did contribute to this, then that's a different story. But don't put an MLG fucking logo on there. That's worthless to anyone who's informed, okay? But anyway, it's a pretty thin guide. I'll thumb through it here with you to show you. It is full color. It's nice, you know, pictures. It's got different moves. Here's how you do the moves. I'm going to be honest with everyone, the guide was poorly designed because anyone knows if you're doing a strategy guide, you should have arrow directions plus like an indicator for what button to press. This is all text, which actually makes it very hard to read on the fly quickly. What you want to see is like right arrow plus medium punch. Okay, I understand that. Now I have to read this back plus medium hard into light hard. It's all words. You don't want to read words. You want to see indicators of what you're supposed to be tapping. So this is a poorly designed guide when it comes to the editing and the visual appeal of it. Whoever did that did a poor job. But outside of that, a lot of explanation, a lot of detail into the characters. It looks like a pretty neat guide. I'll be using it today, definitely, as I play the game, and you know, as I play the game over time, and I'm using more characters. So that's the strategy guide. Nothing big there. It doesn't give you any bonuses. There was actually a collector's edition strategy guide for another $10. It was $35. But all that one came with was some pages from the comic book, like 40 pages of art, and it was so funny. On the back, they actually advertised, oh, a paper slipcase cover. What? So I'm going to pay $10 extra for a paper slipcase cover. When you're advertising a slipcase cover, it means you don't know how to sell your guide for extra money. So anyway, here's the real game, Injustice Gods Among Us, okay? And of course, it won all kinds of awards at E3. Best fighting game, which just pissed off the Tekken people, because remember, Tekken Tag Tournament 2 was also at E3 last year. Bring the pain, the world is your weapon, yada yada yada, okay? And then on the inside, you got your game. You've got the most pathetic instruction manual ever existed, because there are no instructions. Look, literally no instructions. So everything's in-game. And then you've got your Injustice Gods Among Us products catalog. That's right, thanks for buying our game, but now buy all this merch. So you've got the joystick, again, like I told you, the American style. Oh, I can actually show you what it looks like. Let me see if I can get this to focus. Oh, Jesus. See that joystick? See how tall the stick is? It's not a small ball, and it's also a chunky stick. It's not a Japanese-style joystick. It actually is worse than the Japanese style, and if you actually bought that, I feel bad for you. It's a cool collector's item, but actually playing the game, you're at a disadvantage to anyone who's using a Japanese-style joystick, which is pretty funny. The album and the fucking score. Who the hell would buy the music album and then the score separately from the game? I don't know. Action figures, hat, a calendar. Superman Unbound, which is a new Blu-ray coming out, a new Superman animated feature that has absolutely nothing to do with Injustice, so it's funny that they're advertising it in here. iPhone 5 cases, more action figure 2-packs, and then the comic books, basically. And then on the back, it's their non-for-profit organization advertisement. So that's the unboxing of the basic Injustice. Like I said, if I had known that there was a middle-of-the-road collector's edition with a statue and stuff that didn't have the joystick, I probably would have reserved it. But I didn't know that. In addition, I don't know if my reserve ever would have existed in GameStop's system because apparently my reserves are all disappearing out of their system and no one can figure out why or what's going on. That's nice. But anyway, next week when I go into GameStop, I will be checking all my reserves to make sure that they're in there properly, and probably going to update my reserve list too. So that's that. That's the unboxing of Injustice and the strategy guide. I hope you enjoyed it. So for those of you who are interested in watching footage of the game, today, which is Tuesday, all day today, I will be recording the story mode, and if I beat the story mode, I'll be moving on to other modes. I'm going to do the tutorial mode before the story mode, by the way. But I might do online play, you know, I'm going to be doing that all day today on Twitch TV. My Twitch TV streaming channel is Darkside Phil. And then, that will be uploading to my YouTube channel, DSP Gaming, which is for my gaming footage. Okay? So you're going to have a live stream all day, and you're going to have the videos all uploaded to DSP Gaming later on. And I'll also be doing that on Wednesday as well in the early afternoon. I'll be doing a stream of Injustice. So lots of gameplay of Injustice coming over the course of this week. Whether you catch it live on stream or you watch it on DSP Gaming, please check it out. And thanks a lot for watching the unboxing video, and I will see you then.